Hey Tony, it's Friday. It's late and I'm tired. It was a long week. It was a long week in which nothing much happened. But I'm going to somehow fill this video up because I have to. So first off, Tony, to answer your question of the week, I think my favorite D&D story, I might or might not have told you it before, it was my first ever game. It was actually the first ever session of my first ever game. I was playing a Dragonborn cleric because reasons. I don't know why, but it was what I was basically chosen to play. Chosen. It was what I was given to play. It's been a long week. But I went to, do the normal thing, and I went to try and seduce a barmaid for information, and I rolled a 1. What ended up happening is my character got so blitzed out of his mind that he just started, my cleric, mind you, my lawful good cleric, ended up just stripping off all of his clothes, all of his armor, and running around naked and doing his business on everything. That was like my second ever roll. So that will always be stuck in my mind. But now on to this week. As mentioned before, it was long. I mean, it was a short week. Like, I only had things going on Tuesday through Friday. It was a long week. I've been tired every day. Been a lot of work. And I learned something kind of important this week. And that is, it was really hard to learn that there is just some point when you are not capable of doing something for somebody. So I've had a client that I've been working with for a little under a month now. She's been very kind, and I've been trying to help her out with a matter that I didn't have too much experience in, but I knew enough to get by. And I gave some decent advice to start off with. But she kept coming back, and eventually there was so much involved in it that I turned to my supervising attorney, and I was just like, I am at a loss of what to do. I don't know how to help her. And it was tough. To even admit that to yourself is very, very challenging. Because that means that something that you've been doing for X amount of time that you think you know really well, there's a part that you are at a complete and total loss on what to do. And that's hard. That's really, really hard. But, so this week in general, it was really, maybe because it was a short week, it was really busy. Most of my weeks tend to fly by a little bit. This week, I can't believe it's only Friday because it feels like it's so much longer. I went to a really cool speech on Tuesday. That feels like a long time ago now. And that doesn't usually happen, in which a week seems this long. But if you can tell by the look in my face, I am very tired right now. Or not so much tired, but just physically and mentally worn out. And that happens from time to time, especially when you're first getting back into the school semester. But I'm just worn out. So this week in court wasn't too bad. It was kind of weird, and I've had a couple very challenging cases. 2 of which in particular that will stick in my mind for a long time because they are very challenging cases that aren't even necessarily housing matters. It's just very challenging. I won't give any information out because I need to protect the confidentiality of my clients, especially because these are some very serious issues. They've been hard. They've been emotional. They've been challenging. This week alone, I think I've had 5 people I've talked to call me back crying. And that takes a lot out of you. You might not know that, Tony, because I know you haven't really worked a lot with matters like this, but if you have a week in which 5 people call you crying because of something their landlord did or something that happened to them here or something like this, it's tough because you as their attorney need to be their attorney. You need to be their zealous advocate and do whatever you can to help them out. But at the same time, you also have to keep a barrier between you and them. And it becomes very difficult, especially when you're, I'm relatively aloof as a person. And I try and be mildly emotionalist when I'm actually talking to clients, because I don't want to be too over emotional, and I want to basically like show that I feel for them. But it's a very fine line between, being cold-hearted and being gentle. But there's a time where I have stuff I need to do for your case, and it's going to sound terrible, but your crying isn't helping me out. I understand you're going through a very tough time, but I need you to relax so I can actually go through this and actually give you the help you need. But I just had a week, like I said, every single time I felt I called someone, they were crying to me on the phone. I mean, today alone, I had 3 clients cry to me because they were all out of hope. They had no options, and I was their last line of defense before something terrible happened. And that's hard. So, Tony, my question for you is, have you ever had a week in which it was short but still very long? And more particular, I guess a better question would be, have you ever had a time when multiple people in a week have talked to you, looking to have you help them with their problems, and just be emotional messes about the whole thing and make it very challenging for you to do your job? I know this video makes me sound terrible, but again, it's 7:15 on a Friday night. I just got home 10 minutes ago. I've been on the run all day. So, Tony, I'll see you on Tuesday. Later, bro.